All right, so let's begin. I'm incredibly busy, so let's try to keep this thing short today if we can. I hope everybody got to read the minutes, if they had a chance to or not. I thought they were pretty well done. It was a pretty involved meeting in Helena, so anybody got any comments on the minutes? Anything you wanted to change, update? If not, I'd take a motion to accept them.
I'll motion to accept the meetings.
The minutes. Anybody want to second that?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? All right, thank you. Did you want to wait on the elections thing for a minute, or did you want to do that now, Jeff?
I say do it now just because
Okay.
And I was trying to get Megan's opinion on this, but obviously she's
yeah, she was unable to attend today, so
yeah, I think she's out of the office. Go ahead and click on that link there, Mike. So the one thing I think we need to talk about, especially with us going forward with having a later conference starting next year,
is how can everybody see this first of all?
Yep.
Is everybody seeing the new election schedule?
So the way it worked out this year, which we're not necessarily set on having to close our election May 8th, but just the way it worked out, last year's board meeting was like May 20th or something like that. But with it being so early in the month, which you're going to run into this the next couple of years, I think. Essentially, this would limit our recruitment period with us having essentially starting nominations the Monday of the conference. So logistics, I mean, it makes it a little tight, but I can always just do a automated message to go out Monday morning if I'm busy. But you are missing kind of that window of, post conference, getting those nominations out. But essentially, we would still have another week to get those nominations finalized after the conference. I don't know what you all want to do in Billings, though. I mean, I'm trying to clarify this with Megan, and maybe I'll talk with Jenny too. There's really nothing in our bylaws saying that we have to have everyone take office by the end of May. It just essentially says that the board has 7 days to ratify the election results after the election closes, essentially. But we can always have a special meeting to ratify this at the, let's say like the first part of June, if we want to use the conference, whenever it occurs. And essentially, instead of building the election calendar from when the board meeting is, because that's essentially where I started. I started from when the May board meeting is, where you would ratify the results, and that would build up from there. And so there's some hard set things that we can't change, obviously, like the election ballot has to be open for 14 days. And I believe even the nomination period has to be open for 2 weeks too. So there's those two things that we can't really change, but we can change when the election closes. So one thing I threw out was having it close May 12th. So that would give us a few extra days for the nomination period. But so then it shifts everything essentially. So then nominations would open that Friday after the conference closes out. So I'd be curious to get your guys' opinion on this, because I think it would matter in timing all of this when next year rolls around, when our conference is, I think it's like the 14th or something like that. Maybe it's the 17th or something like that. But
so from here until April 3rd, you're saying this is when we should be talking to people, and then on April 3rd is when we should get something hard, or from the 3rd to the 17th is when we're supposed to get something hard?
Yeah. Yeah.
If that person wants to do it or not.
Yeah. So we would have that. We obviously would have that period open for nominations. So we would use. I mean, we could be recruiting during that time as well. I mean, I know we've changed this from the past. Some of you new ones, new members here, we used to do nominations close just right before the conference, and then we would introduce each board member at the conference, have them say something. I mean, I liked it, but I think from the logistics of having to recruit everybody pre-conference made it tough. But I mean, we could reintroduce that for a year and see what it looks like. But
I did like that. I like that as well. Yeah, that'd be tight though.
Yeah, just because most of us are so involved in the planning process, and a lot of times our nominations will literally all come from just talking with folks at the conference. I know the last few years it was just literally about shaking hands, trying to convince somebody to run, which you wouldn't have that. You may have a lot of vacant position if you do it this other way.
So what's the experiment for that week then? I mean, we could actually have a couple more days for the nomination closing then, right?
Yeah. So our bylaws do say that the board has to take action 7 days after the election closes. So if we closed on May 12th instead of May 8th, you still would have 7 days to ratify it. But then you'd essentially slide everything back 4 days. So
I was talking about the April 20th, 21st.
Oh, what's the experiment? I put that in last year, just because that was the first year of doing all the apricot. So I'll probably do it again, but document it a lot better, just so when I turn the reins over to you, Mike, it's not foreign. I had to help Michael Kruger out on this last year, so there's kind of some key parts into knowing how to do it. But you're fairly familiar with it, just because you used it for the retreat. So
Oh, yeah, I mean, okay. Yeah, I'm good with it. I mean, the process.
slide everything back till May 12th. Then is that kind of what you're good with?
I mean, well, even if we don't do that, but yeah, if you wanted to make it May 12th, that's fine too. Yeah.
Yeah, because honestly, I mean, I'll talk with Megan, but we really don't need a complete to turn around from election closes to the board meeting. So, because you wouldn't even make that announcement out to the membership until after the board approves it anyway. So,
Right. Oh, so you're saying that on May 16th, the board meeting, I mean, I would assume that we would just talk about everybody that's applied maybe, but, or been wanted to be nominated, but yeah, we can't do anything about that until.
yeah. So May 16th, the board would ratify the final election results. That's essentially the final approval. So whoever's in charge of the ballot that you just would go through it. Obviously that would be the time to approve, or for like this year we're thinking about amending the Constitution. So obviously if we get enough passed votes there, that would take an effect after the board meeting, after we ratify it. So
Anybody else got any comments?
Sorry, Jeff, you're proposing maybe an early elections where the nominees would be announced during the conference.
no, that's just something to consider for next year. This is probably gonna have to be talked about sooner next year. Just to let you know, Mike and Jeff. Just the way our conference falls next year, it's later. I believe it's like the third week of April. I can't remember what the days are on there.
It's the 15th, yeah.
15th. So if that's the case, nominations are already be closed or be closing during the conference. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I mean, if you were to do it that way, that'd be a good time to bring everybody everyone up on stage that nominated themselves or was nominated.
Can we address this, like for next year, not this year's issues, but can we address when we want to hold the elections, how long at the strategic planning session later this year, or do we need to address it sooner than that?
I think
That would be good. That would be a good time to do it. Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, literally, it would just probably be less than an hour of conversation of everybody's opinions on it, pros versus cons. And I'll check with Megan and Jenny on clarification on the bylaws. It's not super clear when new members have to take office. It may be buried somewhere else where, officers have to be, formally announced by June 1st, but that's not the case though. You could slide everything back a few weeks and just do a special meeting early June to ratify those results. That's probably literally all it would take.
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, I would, that part I wouldn't worry about, but I like the idea of the strategic meeting being the start of talking about the election stuff. And
yeah.
Then we can move forward with that.
So we just need to remember to have this as an agenda item for the strategic planning meetings.
Yep, I will keep it in my head, my notes. We're not looking to ratify this, or I mean, we're not looking to approve this at all, right?
No,
Just
no,
to letting everybody know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good with this. So why do you have May 22nd as the new members taking office? I mean, we can easily push that back a week, right? To June 1st, like we said, even though that's not an official time.
So it is in our bylaws that that the new members take office the
7 days after.
The first Monday after being ratified. Hold on one second. Yeah, newly elected board members shall take office the first Monday after their ratification by the majority of the board.
Okay.
So if that ratification takes place June 1st, then essentially it would still be in time for the first board meeting, first in-person board meeting in June.
Right.
So something to think about, it, especially if we want to use that time during the conference to recruit next year, since our conference will be later.
Yeah, that definitely needs to be discussed for sure.
But I think it is good exposure for so the other coin of that, which I'm sure most of you know the benefits of. The other coin of that is being introduced on stage or whatnot. So the exposure of getting a little face to face with that person if they happen to be at the conference. So that's the other side of it. That would be kind of nice. But
yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Okay, cool. Anybody else got any comments?
No, this all looks good to me, and I have no previous experience with it, but the timing seems nice.
Okay, good. All right. Well, moving on then. Okay, let's discuss this. Now, I can't remember. Okay, so it was brought up by Aaron that the bylaws need to get amended because we're doing the whole fee increase. And thank you, Aaron, for catching that. Jeff, I seen you in here. Is the red mine or yours?
I'm not sure who added the red, but
So then that was me then.
I think
That was me.
essentially that should be the changes. I did add individual on the
Okay.
full one because we did discuss that also being a category change. So I mean, we can do this one or two ways. We can make the appropriate changes in our constitution, and hopefully the next boards after us don't revisit this whole situation. But you know, if they do, they'd have to amend the constitution.
Right.
Or as Jerry kind of did suggest too, you know, because this has probably been, you know, 2 or 3 boards that have touched this document, these sections of this document, or
Right.
we could simply just put in a clause that the board of directors will have final approval, or something like that essentially an approval to any sort of changes in the membership the board would approve. So we can do it either way.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's spelled out kind of nicely here because it's laid out in our constitution, at least what each category means. But I do like that. But say 6 or 7 years down the road, they're rethinking this whole thing. You know, they're gonna have to do another constitution amendment. But.
Well, then so be it. That's what I think.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, it's like if they're going to do that, then they go through the process like we are. To go back to this little document, I just wrote this thing up. The stuff that's italicized, like associate, that was what was going to get replaced by what was in red. That's how I kind of read how I did it here. So that's like down here.
Oh, okay. So the same thing.
I was going to take all this out and just add. Now this is just, yeah, like that. There you go. That was just my thoughts on it. I don't know if we need to vote on this right now, or if we want people to have an extra couple days to look at this. It was just something that I threw out there because I haven't looked at it since I did it that day. So I'm just trying to remember exactly what I did here. So anybody got any comments?
Michelle, do you happen to have an example of how they handle that duration? Some of your other boards. I'm just curious of how that's explained in their bylaws or their constitution.
Yeah, let me look real quick just so I can tell you.
Because it seems like we're missing something.
Mm-hmm. Give me 1 second. Let's get to that section. Annual dues. So we're talking about payment of dues or the duration. So like, for example, this one's annual dues. Dues shall be payable by July 1 annually for membership. There shall be no proration of annual dues except for first-time members.
Yeah, I think we probably need to put something in there like that. Mike.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
I can pull some. I can pull some examples out of a couple different ones, and then you guys can look at them.
Yeah.
Please, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I think we need to add that a little bit down here somewhere.
What was needed to be added? I'm just gonna read that.
Now we need to explain that there's no prorate, or that we're not prorating people except for new members.
New members.
Yeah.
And you may want to say something, and when I find another sample, like, you can look at it, but you may want to say something too about the organizational membership having the ability to add. I mean, you say has multiple members, but there might be some more specific language about, including 5, and they can add more. But I'll find you some samples.
Yeah, please. Make sure I'm attached to that email too, by the way.
What?
I said,
What are
make
you
sure I'm attached to that email, by the way.
What are you talking about? Did I forget to attach you on something?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, that was the whole like the conference planning thing last week or 2 weeks ago. I think Mike was excluded on there.
I'm sorry.
Mike was very upset at the Marls conference that he was left off those emails.
I feel very lonely in Billings. I'm glad Jeff is still with us.
In the corner of the state there, Mike.
Yeah.
I thought you were on them because I thought you were on the emails because you said you might not be able to make the meeting because you were driving to Great Falls.
Well, I was, yeah.
Well, you're never going to be forgotten again.
Yeah.
It's a long drive from the corner of the state to Great Falls too.
So right now, because we're talking about this right now, and I'm in the bowels of doing this. I just have individual and I just have organizational membership in there. So I just want to make sure that's okay. Like this document doesn't need to be passed. That's what we're calling it, right? Like in the system is organizational and individual.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
And student.
And student. Yep.
Yeah, this is just basically cleaning up what we're already planning on doing.
Gotcha.
Okay, anybody else got any comments? So Michelle, if you could send that out, so we can take a look at it. We'll write up some more stuff, send it out to the group, and then we'll probably have some kind of email vote on it.
Yeah.
And then we can move forward with that. And then, so how does that work? So we do an email vote for the board, but then yet we still need to have the membership approve it. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. So we need 2/3 approval or 2/3 majority of the board. And the way it reads is we need to have the board decision first.
Okay.
And then just a simple majority from the membership.
Yeah.
So that would happen during our election.
So we're going to do that during the election. Okay.
Yeah.
That would make sense since we're okay.
Yeah. Well, we could probably go ahead and approve this over offline.
Yep.
Offline email. So.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and let me know, Mike. I can set up a quick SurveyMonkey for that.
Okay.
Since it is kind of a hassle getting into SurveyMonkey these days.
Okay. All right, excellent. Well, then we don't need a motion for any of this. We just need to do some edits after Michelle sends some emails out and or some examples out. And we'll move forward from there. So that sounds good. Let's see here. The Marls conference. I thought it was pretty good. I appreciated the fact that Magip was set up right next to the state library. I believe if we were across the room, I don't think we would have had the foot traffic normally, but I thought it worked out pretty good, and I thought it was pretty good. I got an email from Jerry, or did everybody get that? Don Miller, he sent an email out to me asking, and I don't know if it's everybody or not, and I'm sorry if I'm excluding things, but he sent a picture of when he was at Marls, and he said it looked different. He was asking how the attendance was.
Yeah.
And
yeah, if you wouldn't mind, Mike, if you'd share that through with the rest of us, that'd be neat to see.
Yeah, no, I can certainly do that. Yeah.
Yeah. From what I had gathered from Aaron Fashway too, the state library has attended, probably going back 15, 20 years at this conference. And GIS professionals were not well received when they first kind of got in with just because I think the whole like state library thing got set up in like 06 or something like that. So that was probably right around the time they started interacting with Marls. So GIS professionals were not well liked or received at that conference. And so it did kind of leave some sour taste in a few of the analysts' mouth. But looking at it now though, it's completely different. I presented with a group of the state library, and my portion, and I did get some good questions, and I was expecting to get grilled on some of my questions, just because when GIS meets land surveying, there's just some natural conflict in there.
Yep.
But I think it was good questions. It was good. It was good conflict, and I think the more this is our third year being there for the state library, and I did request Kay to have Marls or to have Magip and state library together, just because I think like Mike said, I think if we were on opposite rooms, they purposely put Selby's and Frontier Precision on opposite side of the rooms because they're competitors.
Right.
I think it should be the opposite if you're complementing one another. So I thought it was great. The conference was.
Yeah, I thought it turned out pretty good. Aaron, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I thought, well, I was there for Jeff's talk and the rest of the state library. So yeah, there was some grilling, but it was cool. And what I really noticed was that his name Dan Stolley, he really went to bat with GIS as a
Staley,
surveyor.
yeah.
Staley,
yeah.
yeah.
So he's a real advocate of GIS, and I think he's a great mediator for the two parties, for sure. Otherwise, I had a pretty good time. It was a lot of workshops, so it was a lot of downtime. We were just kind of sitting there, but when I went into some of the talks, I learned quite a bit. I learned a lot of what I don't know that I need to know. So as far as surveying work goes, but I had a good time, and glad we were there to represent.
Yeah, no, and thank you again, Aaron, for being there and helping out.
Just out of curiosity, what was some of the grilling? I mean, what that you guys?
Oh, it was a little bit about, well, I guess Jeff can speak to this, but
Yeah,
it was about cadastral accuracy.
Yeah, so I was explaining the least squared adjustment process, and with moving lines and PLSS points, obviously surveyors think we're
they immediately
moving everything.
They're going, hey.
But no, we are essentially adjusting bad data to make it better, and it's important to remember the distinction between the digital representation of the PLSS and what surveyors are surveying out there is the more the real thing.
Said it that way when you're
Yeah, I should have. Yeah, it's I guess lessons learned to watch what words you choose, I guess.
No, I thought it was good. I mean, the state library presentation was good. It was well received. They are really interested in the LiDAR. They're really interested in the RTN thing that's moving forward. Surveyors are, so yeah, it's good all around. We've had a few people coming in going, oh, thank you for being here, and saying things to the fact that GIS and surveying, they already work together. There shouldn't be any conflict and all this stuff. They did bring up the conflict a lot though, but it kept coming up.
Yeah. So Eric, I'm going to send the rest of those postcards to you down in Bozeman. If you and Jenny could distribute them to folks that you're interacting with, probably more Jenny than anything. If they can be distributed to like engineering firms that would be interested, or just, I don't know how much you guys deal with the public in GIS, but anyone that you're interacting that would that you would think.
Yeah, I mean, we get a fair amount. I wouldn't say we get a lot of questions directly, but we end up helping resolve quite a few questions. And I know Jenny Jenny deals with a lot of, she could probably use those.
Okay. Yeah. Because if one could be posted over at the Chamber of Commerce, or if there's some sort of physical presence where a postcard here or there could be posted, that'd be good.
Yeah, we're basically
Yeah,
looking to
actually-
get rid of those, so, because they're no good to us after the conference.
Exactly.
Our planning or our building department's just above us, and that's a public office, so we could throw a few around this building too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that was tomorrow's conference. I thought it was well received. I think we should continue doing it. We'll see how Marls feels about it when they join our conference. Hopefully we've reserved a booth for them.
And can you guys just explain briefly to what it's reciprocal option with them, right? So they'll attend ours, we'll attend theirs at this point. Yep. And then what is, so is it the registration that's waived? Essentially, we just have a booth for a couple days?
Yes. As far as I know, it was just a booth, and whoever's attending the booth gets free registration. At least that's what I got from the Marls. Aaron and I did. So it's free meals, free. I don't know how many people they plan on putting behind the booth, but
I think we're giving them a gold one. So kind of like what they did with us. They essentially comped Mike and Aaron for the conference. So I imagine we'll do the same to them. I think it's unsure of who's going to represent Marls at this point. I think Dan Staley at this point is going to be doing both, and they may get the South Central chapter president or someone on the board. I'll try to push for someone else, particularly within that chapter.
I got the impression Dan wasn't gonna, he'll do it, but he's got his own booth, so.
Correct, yeah. So, and I think the president, who also works for Staley over in the Billings office, he was gonna try to attend, but yeah, so we'll just have to wait and see from there and see who wants to represent. But to my knowledge, they have not filled out that form, and I did bring that up to Dan Staley. So it's just probably one of those things we'll just have to keep pushing their way to get, so we can get their paperwork back from them. But we are expecting a returned exhibitor booth form, and the way that, and I think the way it works financially, it's basically just a 1-for-1, Jason. It's a net even for both parties. So.
Yep.
Where's the next conference going to be at for Marls?
Believe they said Fairmont.
We had heard Fairmont, yes.
But that wasn't official, but that's what we heard.
Yeah. So they're kind of like us. There's a lot of limited facilities. I think it was Kalispell's turn, but there's no facility up in Kalispell. The Red Lion, but it's
it's terrible. I remember Kalispell was this year.
It was supposed to be, yes. Yeah.
And then they moved it down. Yeah, they keep Great Falls. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Apparently they have really long contracts with those 3 places, and they're always at those 3 places.
That's
Isn't that right?
Yeah, Missoula, Fairmont, and Heritage Inn in Great Falls. Yes, those 3
contracts. Yeah.
All right. Okay. These other things here are just miscellaneous things that came up. Oh, look at that. I got the email. So the first thing is the June quarterly meeting. We didn't really talk about it or where we're going to have that meeting. Just something to keep in mind. We're going to have to come up with a place for that. Oh, sorry. Thank you. I'm not sure who that's on. If somebody wants to host it, certainly let us know. I personally have no problem wherever it's going to be. Probably centrally located would probably be smart because of the fact that it's going to have the new members and everything. So somewhere where people can get to it. Anybody got any location thoughts at all right now? If not, no big deal. Just something to keep in the back of your head that we need to come up with something.
You know, if we want to do something similar to last year and look at the 2025 conference, we could have it here in Helena, but it would have to be a week later or a week earlier. Our board, or not our board, our organization's retreat is that week, and I think they already have everything set up in Fairmont. So there's literally no wiggle room for me to attend a board meeting that same week. If we were to have it in Helena, and if you would want me to attend, because I would want to bring the Helena conference to Helena in 2025, but we can always do that at a different day. There's enough of us here that we could get some function going. It's just whether or not how much involvement, I guess, Jeff and Mike, you want to have.
Well, first of all, I believe you will not be in the board anymore.
Nope,
Jeff.
I won't be. So I have no decision. Yeah, so so you guys can have it that weekend. I don't care, you know.
I was throw out there either like centrally located Livingston. Do we have any representation in Lewistown or anything up in that area? Great Falls would be good too. So
yeah, it's just something to think about right now. I mean, I don't want to make it. I mean, I like the way Jeff brought it up. Hedstrom brought it up about because I thought we had the June meeting here in Billings last year because we were having we also did the hotel viewing as well at that time, so it just kind of worked out nice. We were doing it all at once, and we can certainly do that again for the Helena one for the 2000 if we're going to go do Helena 2025. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. Go ahead, Rob.
I like it. I like the flexibility and the ideas you're tossing out in relation to that. I do like the notion of having an additional purpose associated with the visit at $5 a gallon for fuel. You really need to be strategic about your travel. So I think if we can kill more than one bird with that stone, that would be advisable.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just Freddie Frugal talking, so take it, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I guess the only thing to work out would be the details in that. Here in Helena, you could almost get away with just looking at one conference or one hotel for the conference. But I know we've always been eyeing the one downtown, or it's close to downtown, the Best Western, but it's always a little too pricey for us. And I think it could kind of work. It's kind of laid out like the Grand Tree, but I would love to see that place again next year, sometime for the.
Are you talking about the Great Northern, Jeff?
Yeah, is it? Have you had a conference there?
I have. It's been a while. There's not as much room as there is at the Delta, of course.
Yeah. Is it smaller than Grand Tree, you think?
It's probably similar. It's got the one big room, and it doesn't really have. It's got a couple smaller. It's probably the same as the Grand Tree. Yeah. Definitely not any bigger. Maybe a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
So maybe we can see how it goes at the Grand Tree, and if it's okay in there.
Yeah.
The one thing that the Great Northern would not have would be a good space for the, how the Delta and the Grand Tree have kind of the big atrium area for the exhibitors. The Great Northern does not have an area like that. Yeah. So I don't know that it would work.
Yeah. Guess a pipeline dream for that. That would at least keep that conference downtown.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, it's just something to keep in mind, but it's coming up. Obviously, we're definitely going to talk about it soon. So yeah, keep that in mind if you guys got any locations. Next is I copied this agenda from last year, and this was the time when we talked about this thing here. Jeff, have you gotten any notification on this at all, or? Oh, you're muted, Jeff.
I don't even know who's running the event. I'm
Okay.
sure Eric might, but yeah, we probably should reach out to them just to make sure that they're doing it again this year, and to have them to get their paperwork into us, so we can essentially make final decision on that. But with it still several months out.
Is it several months out? It's only, I mean, it's in April, isn't it? Or-
April, yeah, so
Okay.
2 months out, over 2 months out, because it's usually after our conference.
Okay. Okay, so
Yeah,
we just
either-
reached out to them.
Either Eric Sproles or Frank Doer
Yeah.
at MSU will probably be
Yeah.
be in charge of that.
Yeah, and Eric, I do have one question too. Do you know if that time slot is like locked in every year? Because I want to say it's going to be right around the same time as our conference next year. And I would like for the two entities to talk to each other.
I don't know if they have like a super solid time slot for that event. Well, I can here I can send out an email just to Eric and Frank and asking about that.
Could you do that? I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll reach out to them now.
Just tell them that we know about it, and yeah, we know, we've participated before, and that, it's coming up again. We're thinking that we'd like to get some information about it.
Okay, perfect.
All right, and the last thing I got on the list here is, the Magip, members meeting. I believe we have that scheduled for Thursday morning. Is that correct? So far?
Yes, I think we have it on there for 8:30 to 9:30.
Right, and I remember last year we just put something on Google Drive to where people could just start talking about things. I have a feeling the big thing that's gonna be coming up is we're going to be discussing the fee increase. I think that's just gonna be something that everybody's gonna be interested in. I'm not sure what other topics that we would like to talk about, but if anybody's got anything now, that's great. If not, I'll put something on Google Drive that people can just write in there. Probably want to talk about the social media, I think, that we've got going now too. I think that would be a good idea. Speaking of that, Mike, did you get my email with the picture?
Yeah, it looks like it was shared today on social media.
Oh,
Yes.
okay,
I saw it just recently.
excellent.
So Mike, I know we just talked about this, but or Jeff, would the nominations or the elections have already happened, or would that be something that you would talk about at the members meeting? Or for this year, would they already be done?
No,
This year, they're not gonna be done.
yeah. So
Yeah, this year we're gonna be talking to everybody, trying to get
yeah,
nominees. If
Yeah.
I understand it. But next year is when the potential is there to get it beforehand, right? Is that how I
Okay.
understood that, Jeff?
yep, that would be your opportunity to do it that way. Yeah, so Michelle, the nomination period won't open until the Friday after the conference, after I amend that little schedule that we looked at. So
Okay, so that might be another good thing just to talk about at the member meeting.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's always a good plug to
Yep.
mention 5 open positions this year. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I'll send that out. I'll fill out a couple things in there, and then if anybody else wants to add to that, we can certainly go with that. We can discuss this again next month. As we're getting closer, we have something to talk about for an hour. I don't want to sit there and just take up questions from the audience. All right, let's get the reports. Nate is not here today. He has sent a few things to us, so I think we're good. He did send an update, which I didn't print out, on the swag. and maybe we could talk about that a little bit, Eric, when we get to you and Michelle. About the tin cups and the notes and everything, notepads. So let's just get down to Rob. Rob, you got anything?
Oh, I got tons.
Oh,
yeah. Okay, I got scholarship and grant announcements out, and asked our contacts at the major universities to distribute those widely. Also tapped the contact lists that we have for K-12 and other institutions, and sent messages out to them as well. Communicated with Jenny Connolly a little bit about the, conference scholarships, and reminded folks at U of M that there is a deadline, because otherwise there's a lot of interest in Bozeman at the moment. And I think Wednesday, tomorrow, I'm meeting with a professor who's doing a project with Ronan Middle School, which is on the Flathead Reservation, and talking about, getting them to apply for education grant. So scholarships are out. There's some prospect for an education grant, and we're kind of at a wait and see phase right now. So I put that out, and I put a deadline of March 24th out there, which is like the last Friday there in March. That gives us roughly a week to review and make determinations, and then be able to offer that at the conference. We've got the two scholarship winners from last year. I've got them in touch with Michelle, and hopefully they will be registering and submitting abstracts for their presentations.
excellent.
So yeah, that's what I've got. Any questions, comments? I'm available.
Anybody? All right, thanks, Rob.
Okay, you bet.
Members committee, Mike.
I had a member reach out to me a couple weeks ago. They were part of an organization, and they left their organization, and so did the two other members. And they wanted me to, I guess, change their organization or their membership level to just an individual. And I was able to do that in Wild Apricot. But it kind of had to figure it out. I think I did it correctly. He was able to pay for his new membership and didn't have to change. He didn't have to recreate an account or anything. So got that handled. And yeah, I think the social media posts are going well. Rob, do you want us to create graphics for the scholarships?
Yeah, I was on mute there. I'd say yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, and I assume we have it on the website, probably under scholarships. Or is there any specific information you'd want included?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's an announcement that has the specific information in it. I communicated with Megan, and I was under the impression she is getting that put up on the website. Is that correct?
Yeah, check with Megan, and yeah, I think that'd be a great idea, getting that on the social media.
Yeah, and if not, Mike, I can just email you those announcements directly, if that would be helpful.
Yeah, I'll look through and find those. And we'll get something posted.
Okay, they're also, if you can't find them on the website, they're also, on Google Drive. If you go into the education committee, there's folders for scholarships and there's folders for grants. Yeah, great. Go ahead and get in there.
Did I miss it?
Yeah, so Mike, they are up on the website. There are two thumbnails. I don't see them actually as a headline though. So I'll try to link the headlines to the thumbnails though.
Yeah, if you go to Magip, you should find education committee somewhere.
Yep.
Okay. No.
Well, this is education.
Oh, yeah. So then go into, let's go scholarships first. And then scroll down to the bottom and we've got the 2023 announcements. And so there's PDF and documents in there.
There you go.
Sounds good. I found it on the website, so we'll create a graphic for it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's about it for me.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, anyway, I'd just like to say thanks, Mike. I think having the social media presence, with this being infused into social media, I think that's something we haven't done yet or before. And I think it should be revealing. See how, hopefully not too many applicants because we got to read them all. But
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for taking that step.
Sounds good.
Mike, were you confident on your changes that you made in Wild Apricot, or did you want Michelle to take a look at that at all, or?
It took me a couple minutes to figure out how to change a membership, but I feel pretty comfortable that I made the correct changes.
All right, that works for me.
I'll try and find the person's name, and I guess if Michelle wants to review it, that'd be good.
Okay, just send her an email or the person's name or whatever, and we go from there.
Yep, will do.
Cool. Eric.
All right. Yeah, things are moving along nicely. We have all the presentations filled up. Michelle and I.
Well, on that thought, before I forget it, is Eagle View doing something?
Who?
Eagle View?
Let me pull up the list.
Yes, they're in the government track.
Okay.
Okay,
Awesome. Okay. So yeah, and then Michelle and I and all the track chairs, we're going to meet tomorrow to break up the presentations more appropriately. It was pretty heavily loaded on local government. So we'll hopefully have that finalized tomorrow, or at least have it broken up tomorrow, maybe not fully scheduled out. And then we are going to be working on the swag order as well. I guess this was a good time. I had a quick clarification question. Do we have a separate budget for conference swag?
yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. I chatted with Nate and got a little confused about that. Okay.
Yeah, you also have your separate budget for the meetup as well.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So yeah, we have a few. I'm working with Tree Line Coffee here in town to see what they can do for us as maybe kind of like a swag item, because they do little instant coffee things, and I think that's something people would appreciate. It's a local product and everyone wants coffee there. So hopefully we'll have that wrapped up here soon as well. And then Shane, the keynote speaker, he agreed. He was happy to accept the 500 for speaking.
Good.
As well. So
I was a little curious about that. Isn't he a public representative? Shane?
Yeah, well, he does own his own business. And I think he's a lecturer at MSU. But no, he does run a consulting firm.
Okay.
So
Yeah. All right. I thought he was kind of a public figure, so I thought it was odd that he was charging a fee. But,
yeah, and that's why the second I got that, I reached out to everyone to see if that was a totally new thing. And I looked into his work. I think, you know, and I'll keep in touch with him. I think he just will be putting quite a bit of work into the presentation. And actually, I chatted with him a little bit about it. I think he said he typically receives $800 for speeches that he gives. So he was happy to take a little less for this, since we are a nonprofit. And I think in his mind, which is why I reached out to him too, it's a good crossroads for, you know, an application of GIS that you don't typically think of.
yeah. I mean, good job in making that happen. I just was a little disappointed. I thought he was a little proud of himself. But
yeah.
Cool. Well, I hope he delivers.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you, Rob.
I guess to your point there, Rob, I think it's been a while since we've paid a speaker. But at the very least, we usually comp their travel. So there's usually some sort of compensation.
Right.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious what we did with Joseph back in Great Falls. Jeff, do you remember?
I think we paid for his plane ticket in his room because he came up from Denver.
Right. Okay.
But the room we usually get from the hotel anyway, because with a large enough conference, you usually get enough free rooms. So we usually use that towards the speaker or whatnot. So
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and that caught me off guard as well too. So it's nice we can just proceed with Shane and not have to, you know, dig into some backup options.
Right. No, like Rob said, man, great job in getting that done.
Yeah, it's nice to have it early ahead of time. Give him a lot of time to work on it as well, and then us to maybe work with him and whatnot. So, yeah. Michelle,
did we make an announcement? Did we make an announcement about the keynote yet, like a separate one?
No.
I don't think so, because we were kind of held up there on that when I asked about compensating him. So I think it hasn't been made official yet, but
sounds like we can move forward now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd probably be good timing, I think, right now to get that information on the website and make an announcement to our membership about, you know, a keynote being announced.
Social media.
Okay.
All that. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only place I put it, I did, Eric, I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not sure if you were done yet. I was just going to add a couple things.
Oh, I was going to ask if you had anything to add. So
yeah, that was one thing. I've just had a couple people reach out because, you know, we have the workshop schedule out on the webpage, and I think we know this happens every year, but there's people who need to kind of see that schedule overview in order to get approval. So I just updated the schedule overview and put it on the webpage this morning, and I did add Shane into that. So we didn't publicly announce it, but it is listed on that. And then I did send out this morning, I was going to do it on Friday and I completely forgot, but I sent a notice out to all the presenters letting them know that we needed a little bit more time to look through the presentations, and we'd be letting them know early next week. So
Michelle, also something came up at the conference, at the Marls conference. Are we still accepting presentations? Because I mean, it would be nice to kind of beef up that tribal track a little bit. There's a couple of tribal people that we'd like to reach out to if it's not too late to sneak them in.
Actually, they reached out to me.
That's right.
Wally.
Yeah.
Now was very interested in maybe doing a tribal track,
Well,
Yeah,
did
so-
that,
or not track, but a presentation in the tribal. Yeah.
did that bill pass? You know,
Which
the one
one?
that, the one that, we went and supported.
No, it's onto the House. It's past the Senate, but it's onto
Yeah,
the House now.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, Senate Bill 60 or something, right?
Right.
Yeah, it
Right.
probably won't get introduced. It probably won't get introduced into the House until later this month, or maybe even March.
Yeah, well, I'm imagining that Wally will want to talk about it. For sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, between the real network and the low distortion projections, yeah, he's always got a lot to talk about. He could probably fill 2 hours if we wanted to.
Yep. Yeah. So cool. I'm glad you guys are making that concession. I think it would be, especially if we're gonna, like, you know, visit each other's conferences, there should be some overlapping content.
Yeah, we didn't close the portal, Jeff. I mean, we made a decision not to extend the deadline just because we had so many presentation submissions. But we didn't close the portal either. So I think, you know, if there is, especially since we only had one submission for the tribal track, I think it would be really good to round that out. And I've already had, since I sent that email this morning to the presenters, I've already had like 3 of them answer and say, you know, hey, if you guys are full, I'm willing to back out. I don't need to present. So I'm keeping note of those too, just in case we do need to like push some people aside. There's like 3 people that already volunteered to not present.
Yeah.
So
well, and honestly, probably looking through it, I would ask the select few that we know will go over the 30 minutes to schedule them for 60 minutes if they're okay with it.
Yeah.
I would make that, you know, because I think if the next gen stuff is 30 minutes, let's get that up to an hour, because those are always so popular.
Well, and those lead to a lot of questions too.
Yeah.
Even,
I mean,
if they really only have 30 minutes of content. I mean, I popped into the addressing in 911 last time, and it was a madhouse, and people were raising their hand every minute to throw something out there. So it's
Could we divert, or maybe offer the people that, you know, if we have too many, like the overflow, could we have them do a poster? Or
yeah,
give
we
them
don't
the
have
option?
we don't have any poster submissions yet.
You know, just to bulk up the content. I mean, if that might be interesting.
Okay, well, let's hold that thought for a second. I hate to jump here, but I've been told that Jeff Sprague needs to get out of here, and he does have a few things to say about the SIG. So let's get that. Jeff, why don't you go ahead and put that out there, and then we will get back to the conference a little bit there.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
sorry to leave here in haste, but update on the LiDAR SIG. We had our meeting last month. We had about 15 different people from all different spectrum of business organizations, everywhere from the private sector to the local government sector, attending the SIG. Rob, I don't know, Mike, others who attended, how you felt like it went. I thought it went fairly well, and we're hoping to have another SIG meeting as part of the Big Sky GeoCon. I talked a little bit to Michelle and somebody else, and recently, I think it was last week when we were during the planning session for Big Sky GeoCon. So I guess my question was, is that on the list of like roundtables or discussions for the Big Sky GeoCon? Or do I need to like submit some sort of abstract or something like that to you, Michelle?
Well, I don't think so. And those roundtables were just established last year. They were kind of a new thing. And so I do think we need to talk about that and determine, yeah, I don't know how we want to determine what those roundtable discussions are, but I think that's really good that you bring that up, Jeff. And I know that government the SIG ended up just kind of doing one on their own last year.
Yeah, and good job bringing that up, Jeff. What I noticed from that meeting, it seemed like there was a general lack of knowledge and understanding of the data. What LiDAR is, how it works, what you could do with it, those kinds of things. And so I think just the more content people can be exposed to, the better. So, having a place where people can gather and ask questions and stuff, I think would be a valuable thing for that special interest group.
Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody who contributed and whoever put the recording of the Zoom meeting up on the website. I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Yeah, I did that for you.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah, I plan on going back through that recording and taking a look at it to kind of crystallize my thoughts too, Rob, on where we should go next with the discussion in April. So
Yeah, it wasn't real clear, I don't think, but what was clear to me is that people were thirsty for information.
yeah.
Quick question, Michelle, for the roundtables, I'm pretty sure we staggered them around so they're not over the top of one another. Is that correct?
Yes, we did.
Okay, good. That's a good thing, I think.
Well, yeah, well, I'll add, I mean, I think we had an hour or hour and a half over the lunch hour on that Thursday. Oh, you're talking this year, Mike?
Right.
Yeah, this coming year, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, yeah. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's why we did that, is because you're right, we did a kind of a bring your own or grab a lunch and go to whatever roundtable you wanted last year, but I think that there were some people that wanted to go to different ones, so that the suggestion was made, which was a good one.
Perfect.
But I was just looking really quick. I think we have so like on Wednesday we have them scheduled from 9:30 to 10:30, and then we have them again later in the day. Yeah, so there's 2 different times, and we can use, have several different ones going on at the same time.
Yeah, nice.
This all sounds great. I gotta go. I've got a meeting to get to. If you want to continue to talk about the LiDAR SIG, I'm fine with that, and I'll watch the recording for the end of the meeting. So.
All right, well, thanks, Jeff. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
everyone.
Okay, to get back where we were talking about the conference and talking about if we have too many presenters that maybe we should flow them, make posters out of them. Is that what you were suggesting, Rob?
Yeah, I was just thinking that if people had the intention of giving a presentation, but there isn't enough, time for that, since they already have some content in mind, why not channel that into a poster, or at least invite them to do a poster instead?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We do that a lot with other conferences too, depending on what it is. You can at least give them the option, and if they don't want to do it, they don't have to.
Right, exactly. But at least we're giving them a venue.
Right.
If they want it. And, it kind of shows that it's a little bit competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't hurt.
Okay, I hate to cut this off again, but Jason needs to go. So Jason, you want to cut it here?
I do, yeah. I'd love to.
Please.
Yeah, and that's it's a good reminder too, with maybe we should create some social media posts just about the map gallery, especially if we don't have anything submitted yet. Just reminders at this point, and then we have it kind of dialed in from years past, but just something to consider, I guess, as we get closer.
Yep.
And then, yeah, as far as roundtables, if we need any assistance with recommendations, definitely let me know too, because I'd be willing to kind of assist with that. We had some good content last year, I think, and I think it'll be important to ensure that they don't overlap, just because there were a lot of great conversations, and I think people missed out on some table discussions that they wanted to attend. So,
Right.
yeah, and then regarding workshops, I think, we're not too much to report. Everything is really confirmed. We're using, once again, we're using all 5 conference rooms. They're completely full, and we're starting to see some trickling in as far as folks registering for workshops. Yeah, as we, as time passes, we'll continue to monitor that. As part of our responsibility is the workshop committee will reach out to the instructors periodically here, just letting them know how many have registered. We'll confirm with them what they need for their rooms, and then we'll send. We'll just be in touch with the instructors as it gets closer. Ultimately, as well, we're starting to think about we'll want to create some thank you cards and things like that for those that have offered their time to instruct as well. So we'll make sure that those are available at the conference, because ideally we'd like at least the board to hand sign those on behalf of Magip. So a lot of little miscellaneous things behind the scenes, I guess, happening right now, but yeah, I think I'm excited about the topics, and we'll just continue to move forward here. That's it.
All right, thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. Well, we'll just go on to Michelle, and we can carry on with the conference stuff as well. You got anything administration?
I just had a couple questions on the membership. I'm working on so I've had to created the new membership level in Wild Apricot, but I have to manually move everybody, like all the associate member categories, into that before I can delete the old ones. So I'm almost done with that. And then I'm ready to export everybody. And so I have to export everybody and change those membership levels in the spreadsheet and the dues. So I'm ready to do that. I just wanted to make sure you guys were okay with me pulling the plug on that. And then I'm drafting I was just going to send it to you, Mike, or I can send it to the whole board, just kind of the message that'll go out with the invoice for you to look at.
Oh, yeah, send it out to the board. But,
okay. Yeah. But one question I had as I was moving people over, for example, on the associate member A, for example, there's still 16 people sitting in there because they are either lapsed. I mean, one person lapsed like back in 2013, and then the other one, they're like Trek Incorporated, Clerk and Recorder's Office. So before I delete those, I just don't know, do you guys want me to send you like a list and say, okay, here's the people that are sitting in this category. They're obviously lapsed. Do you want me to archive them, or do you guys want to look at them first? I guess I just wasn't sure how you wanted to handle that.
And how long have they lapsed? You said the one was 2013, right? But the other ones are what, only a year old? Well,
it just varies. Like here's what, like Morrison Merrily was these were all like an associate member A at one point. Like this person, the last time they changed was 2016.
I archive them. I just say archive them.
Should I just, maybe if it's somebody like within the past 3 years, I could have you guys look at it, but if they're 5 years or older, just archive them.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I mean, if we get an email or a question saying, hey, what's up? It's like, well, get your stuff in order here.
Yeah. I mean, like, here's one, it's Robert Kinning from Salish Kootenai, and he had, his last activity was in October of 2021. So I don't know what happened to him, but there, you know, and then there's other people attached to the bundle. But in order for me to delete those categories, I'll have to archive them. Otherwise, the system won't let me delete those levels.
Well,
And if
archiving them I like, because then we're still have them on
Yeah.
record somewhere.
Okay.
So we don't
Is
have them.
Salish Kootenai, are they still an associate member then?
If they're maybe under somebody else.
I thought they didn't re-up like they were last year, but they weren't this year.
Yeah, no, they're not current.
Yeah, so that's probably what happened.
So the question is, you know, do we?
We could certainly, especially those ones that just dropped off the last year, may give us a good opportunity for some recruitment.
Yeah, like I can do like everybody that's 2 or 3 years that's dropped off. I can do a list for you guys, and if you as board members want to tackle that and reach out to people. Okay.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
I'll
If
do
anything
some-
more than 5 years, I would certainly just archive them and get them out of there.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, otherwise I was going to finish the export and import and then draft the message and then get that out, since kind of a message with that, along with promoting the conference again, because the early bird deadline's coming up. So I thought it would just be good to send it all out at one time.
Okay. Yeah.
And Michelle, do you know what's up with the hotel? I mean, are people able to reserve on? I mean, I know I wasn't able to do my registration online. I had to call.
Oh, you weren't? And you clicked on the booking link?
It said it was all booked. I don't know if there was like a code that was. I mean, I tried entering probably 15 different ways of putting geocode or a geocon in, but.
Well, it's a direct link on the web page, and that's not working.
You may have changed it since have you. You may have put in a new one in since the last time I looked at it, but essentially the days that I tried to put in, it said it was all booked.
Oh, yeah, the booking
Wow,
link.
I hope not.
Yeah, the booking link that's on there now has been on there for a few weeks, but I will check on it and see if you're trying to put dates in outside of the room block, then maybe it would be doing that. Yeah, no,
I
it
mean, I
says,
guess it would be good if it is booked already, then we have them all full already, but.
yeah, no, it says there are currently no rooms, and that's a weird,
Yeah.
that doesn't even look like the Grand Tree's webpage. That's weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the messages I'm getting. But yeah, when I called, I think it was last week, I called and reserved my room. She said there was plenty in the room block.
So
but-
that makes me think it's something with that
Yeah.
link. Okay, yeah, and even when you click on that link, it's like a weird, it takes you kind of to a weird web page.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check on that.
And then another thing to probably stress within your emails about that pertaining to, and you probably already have, but like the increased government rate, that's a Bozeman local area, not anything new to the state of Montana. So
Yeah, it has nothing to do with Magip. That's a Bozeman thing.
exactly, yeah, it's more of an area government rate than anything. So
I
Right.
put Eric's name down on that somewhere. Just blame
Yeah,
him.
if you have issues with it, contact Eric Schreier.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, no, thanks, Jeff. I'll check on that booking link. I feel like we've had to check on it once before too, so that's kind of weird. But I will. Okay, that's all I had, Mike. Thank you.
All right, no,
I'll get
absolutely.
I'll get a burner phone. You can just direct all the calls to.
There you go.
I love it.
Eric, did you have anything else for your committee?
No, that was it.
Okay, good. Megan's not here. Is Eric on? Eric Spanglenberg? No. Okay. I put a request for Tommy to come on. I don't think he came on either. we need to talk to Tommy and have him give us an update on the local government. He had to cancel last month, so, due to sickness. As far as I know, the local SIG is doing really good still, but, we probably should get an update from him pretty soon. Anybody got anything else? No? Hearing nothing, somebody want a motion to close the meeting?
All motion to adjourn.
Anybody want to second that?
I'll second.
Thank you. I'm sure we're all approving this, so. Anybody against not ending the meeting? Yeah, okay. So moved. All right, guys, next meeting is March 11th. No, that's not ours.
21st.
21st.
21st. Do I have that on here? Oh yeah, right there. Okay. All right, sounds good. Michelle, did you still need me to be on, or?
No, that was the question I had,
Okay.
was about the membership stuff. Thank you.
Okay, yep. All right, guys, enjoy. Thank you, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Forced to go to work at least